tech companies are facing some regulatory hurdles at the moment. A national recycling scheme is now in place for consumer electronics. Panasonic is one company looking at it as a way to initiate growth. For more on this, we're joined in the studio by the company's Managing Director, Steve Rust. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning.
First of all, can you tell us about the new recycling scheme?
Well, the government's announced this new recycling scheme for televisions and actually IT equipment to implement in 2011. And so they're calling on industry to actually put together management programs to actually communicate with the community and encourage the community to recycle through official recycling plants.
So what type of management initiatives are they calling for?
Well, really the impetus is on industry to put together management organisation to actually, it's quite complex, Helen, because it'll be a national scheme and there's a cost, of course, and the idea that the cost will be recovered at time of importation into the country, and that fee will then drive the cost of recycling. So consumers need to be engaged, and how do they do that? Where do they drop off their old TVs, etc. For some people, of course, TVs will need to be collected from the home.
So how does Panasonic have to adjust its business practices to keep up to date with this?
Well, we've been a long-term supporter of the government implementing this. I mean, this is not new around the world. Some countries have had recycling schemes for up to a decade. And we think, in terms of the environment, this is the right way for suppliers to go, to actually take responsibility, if you like, from cradle to grave.
So I understand there's also energy performance levels that are coming into place for some products. What does this mean?
Well, in a way, they've been in place for many years, of course, in white goods. We've had the Star Energy labelling system and an acronym called MEPS, which is actually a minimum energy performance standard the government requires to actually import product and sell it in Australia. But now it's moving to televisions, and in fact it's in place right now. So you go into store, you'll see that all TVs have star labels on them. The more stars the better, and it gives the consumer an indication of which ones are least harmful for the environment.
So how will you be recycling these televisions?
Well, I think I could draw on the experience from Japan. I mean, we've had a recycling factory in Japan now since 2001, and up to 98% of old TVs actually recycled into new products. So here in Australia, of course, the recycling companies, Panasonic doesn't have a recycling plant here in Australia, but there are other organisations that are operating recycling plants, and we'll work with them. And eventually, I think the government's indicated that it's hopeful that all the recycled material will actually stay in Australia and go back into some form of manufacturing into other products. And so an old TV might end up as, you know, a kid's toy, for example.
So it sounds like quite a big hurdle. How do you see it actually as a way to initiate growth?
Well, it's along with many environmental issues now for manufacturers. I mean, for example, we've introduced this year more environmentally friendly televisions. They use less power consumption. One of the things that we've noticed when we compare sales of old TVs versus new TVs, the eco-friendly TVs got the strongest growth. In fact, if I just compare one model a year ago to now with the latest eco features in it, sales are up 35%. So consumers are really voting with their wallet.
So you're not having to sacrifice any quality with making it an eco-friendly product?
Not at all. In fact, if anything, I think in the last 12 months, quality overall, from us at least, has probably improved. I mean, we got a really good measure of that because of claims on warranty, etc., and they're certainly down this year.
And so, just finally, how do you think companies should be implementing environmental initiatives?
Well, it varies from company to company, but we kind of call it the green revolution. You know, we had the industrial revolution of the 18th century, then the technology revolution of the 20th century, and now this century we see the opportunities kind of for green technology. So initially we're doing that through the introduction of more eco-friendly products and differentiating that way. Consumers are concerned about the environment, and so they're voting with their wallet. And of course, at the same time, we're introducing more eco-friendly manufacturing processes. So CO2 emissions, for example, have greatly reduced at Panasonic by in fact 13% in the last 2 years. And we've set our target of 9% reduction in the next 12 months. So by producing more eco-friendly products, we're really appealing to a growing need in the community, which is care around the environment.
Thank you very much. I'm afraid we'll have to end it there, but Steve Rust from Panasonic, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Helen.